Okay. Once again, I'm welcoming you to today's training. This is a training on organizational crisis management. My name is James Faniyi. I work with seaconcept Training Company Limited. I want to appreciate every one of you on board, and especially those who have done one or two trainings with us before. And if you are just coming in contact with our organization for the first time, I want to say you're welcome, and I'm appreciating you for being on board for this training. So thank you for your registration. And I do hope that you get values for what you have registered for. So why are we looking at organizational crisis management? This training is actually targeted to assist those people who are managing, the affairs of the organization in any capacity it may be. Either you're a manager, either you're a business owner, either you're an entrepreneur, either you are a safety personnel in companies, either you are a project manager, or whatever may be the capacity where you have to manage some, affairs for your organization. Organizational crisis is not limited to regions, it's not limited to countries, it's not limited to continents. Every nook and cranny of the world, globally, it is a problem. And it is a very big problem that, we must actually be intentional about. So, when we talk about crisis, we can actually point at crisis as those events, those happening that may actually pose a level of threats to the operation of the company. Okay, it can actually put a halt to the operations or the activities of an organization. And in most cases, it may actually be something that require a very fast response, that if you do not respond to it very fast, okay, it might actually cause more damages, even to the reputation of the company or to the existence of that particular organization. So crisis is everywhere. And whether you like it or not, to some extent, you may actually do some carry some preventive measures, like you don't want this crisis to occur. But trust me, we must also be ready to with actions that we will take as managers or as management when crises, eventually occur in the company. So when we talk about crisis management, we are referring to a process by which an organization, deals with a destructive and unexpected event that threatens to harm the organization or its stakeholders. And when we are talking about stakeholders means that people that our operation actually affect. Your stakeholders, involve those who are actually, who have shares in the company. Your stakeholders involve even your staff, the workers that are actually working in the company. Your stakeholders involve those people who are actually your clients. Okay, even the general public that might patronize you in one way or the other. They are also your stakeholders. So everybody that your operation as a company affect, even in your neighborhood where your company is actually built, whether they are patronizing you or not, for the fact that your company is in that environment, so they automatically become what stakeholders, because your operation might actually affect them in one way or the other. So crisis management, help us to focus on how we can deal with some events that are disruptive. Just like I've explained before, that crisis, the features of crisis is that they are actually disruptive. They actually disrupt activities of the company. Okay. And in most cases, they're actually unexpected. Crises are in most cases, they're actually unexpected. You never even see it coming. You don't even know that it's actually going to happen. Okay. And when it does happen, it actually threatens, to harm the organization. And it's also what threatens what? Even to harm the stakeholders of the organization. So, although the focus of the study of crisis management from its origin are actually centered on a large scale industry, talking about a big industry, multinational industry, and all that. But trust me, at every level of organization, either small scale, either the SME, also face crisis. Okay, in as much you are dealing with clients, in as much you are dealing with money, in as much you want to make profit and all that, in one way or the other, you must actually have at the back of your mind how you can mitigate or deal with crises when they come, or how you can actually what prevent them and prepare for when they happen and after they might have what happened. So crisis management is actually considered as the most important process when it comes to public relations. Now let's look at crisis and their common elements. Irrespective of what the crisis is, crises actually have three uh, common elements, okay? That is actually the three elements that is common to any sort of crisis whatsoever, okay, when it happens in an organization. The first one is that every crisis that happens in organization, okay, it actually what pose a threat to the organization. So every crisis actually comes with their own threats. When we talk about threats, it might be that it will disrupt your operation. It might be that it's going to damage the reputation of the company. Okay. It might be that it's going to affect the focus of your staff, your workers, their efficiency, their effectiveness on the job. Okay. It might be that it's going to affect that. So it poses a level of threat to your organization. So that's the first element of crisis. The second one is that it comes with this surprise. You will just be like, how come? How did it happen? How did it? How did this actually happen so fast? Because you never could really take, the accurate track of the events. Why didn't you see it coming and all that? So that is it. So when crisis happens, there is always that element of surprise. Okay, for many organizations. And by the time we go on in the class, you will see most of these examples that sometimes, you may know that yes, things like this may happen, but when it happens, it will catch you with some level of surprise. The only thing that can actually save the organization is that if you have actually seen, okay, let's say we have put everything in place to actually mitigate and deal with this what crisis. When it does happen, what are we going to do? What are the action plan? And when it happens, despite the surprise, the company will be able to actually recover and come back to operation. So the third one is that what it actually give you, allowance of what short decision. The time duration for you to think and decide what to do is usually very short when it comes to crisis. It's not the time that you begin to say Abraham Lincoln said, and I quote, and or bringing out your textbook to, saying you want to do research and everything. It takes a very drastic action, something, very fast. You have to be highly responsive when crisis does occur in an organization. So these are very, very important to note as we move on in this training. So we have actually explained that there are three features which are very common to what every level of crisis that may actually happen. I've actually mentioned the threats, okay, to the organization, that it does come as a surprise and it gives you a limited time to think and provide solution. Now, some people might actually look at it that how is this actually different from risk management? Yes, risk management actually allows us in organization to assess potential threats and finding the best ways to actually avoid those threats. In other words, you are actually looking at what you do as an organization. Okay, what are the things that actually pose, some risks that we actually take in our organization, and how do we actually manage it? So every organization normally, a good organization will do risk management in the sense that let us assess all the risk that we are open to. Okay, can we be under attack at any moment? Can it happen that a staff may get injured and we have to rush him to hospital, and or we have to attend to him medically? A company will do a risk assessment based on the nature of the job, and also find the best way to actually mitigate those threats. But unlike this risk management, crisis management, yes, may not actually be you know exactly different from that, but it goes more than that, in the sense that risk management is actually part of the things that you do in the process of crisis management. Because yes, you want to actually, you have seen that okay, maybe all these crises may actually occur, and you have tried as much as possible to say okay, fine, let me put these things in place so that I can mitigate the occurrence of this risk, but of this crisis. But in crisis management, despite the fact that you have put everything in place to actually ensure that what those crises do not occur, you must still prepare with the mindset of what happens when this crisis eventually occur. Despite the fact that you have done everything you could to ensure that, okay, fine, this crisis may not occur in the organization, you still have to prepare ahead to say, okay, fine, when it happens, what will be the action plan? And what will be the action plan when the crisis is over? So in crisis management, we deals with what? The threat before the crisis. We deals with what? The actions during the crisis. And we deals with what? Action after the crisis. Because yes, let's take an example. If there's a fire outbreak in the company, what risk management will teach you to do is to say, oh, fine, there may be you know, an incident of fire in our organization. So risk management will now tell you, okay, fine, your fire extinguishers and everything, you put it in place and all that. Emergency response and everything. But the real crisis management we put in place that even though we have cited that fire incidents may actually happen in our organization, yes, we have put fire extinguishers in every strategic location, which is actually what helping us to get prepared that despite the fact that we have put all the control, we have trained all the staff, turn off the electrical socket and everything, check every offices before you actually close during the day. We have set policies that will ensure safety, measure and safety culture in our organization. But when it happens, what are we going to do? Fire extinguishers are there to actually fight. Aside fire extinguishers, because fire extinguisher can only attack small level of fire, then do we have what? An express number to what? Fire fighting departments? Okay, do we have their number? Would they be highly responsive? How far are we from them and all that? In crisis management, all these things will actually be in place. And when eventually the fire is actually quenched after it must have occurred, what are the plans we have in bringing back our operation to ensure that what we go back into operation? So crisis management covers the length and breadth of this to ensure that yes, before the crisis, during the crisis, and after the crisis is actually what taken care of. So when we are talking about crisis management, we should know that what it goes beyond what risk assessment or risk management that we normally talk about in safety training. So let's look at some types of crisis. I've just listed out like 8 here, and expecting that different crises that we may actually think about may come under this. The first one is natural disaster. Okay, well, if you are living in part of Africa, you may not, have experienced much of this, but trust me, there are some continents that they have what, they face natural disaster. And we are talking about natural disaster. We are not just talking about, something that you do have, that assurance or that accuracy of, this so thing can happen at this so time. When you're talking about earthquake or landslide, okay, we are talking about volcano eruptions and all that. These are natural disasters that can actually catch an organization, unaware if care is not taken to put, in place all the plans to actually mitigate this or to arrest the situation when it does occur. There are also technological crises, okay, across organization. Technical crisis can actually be as small as, people, customer trying to log into your website and then your website is actually was shut down. That can actually what raise rumor about you of not being what genuine, or customers actually was sensing that what there is an internal problem. I remember what really happened when Nigeria was trying to actually make a shift from old currency to new currency then, and the app of banks started what messing up to the extent that people will send money, the person you send money to has not gotten the money, and you that send the money, it has been debited from your account, and the person is actually on your neck. I could recall then that my wife went to buy something in the market, and they had to, she had to leave the place because she had paid, she had been debited. But the person to hand over, because then Nigeria was trying to actually motivate what the citizens, to engage in online banking, transfer, and all that, running cashless policies and everything. But the bank apps were just messing up, and it was a great crisis in Nigeria then. If you still have those videos, if you had seen those videos on internet, you will see, flood of people. I will use this flood of people because the number of people at the frontage of each bank was quite overwhelming. People were there asking for their money. They have money, they couldn't withdraw it. Many people couldn't make transfer. Okay, many people would transfer, they will not get money. I have a lot of people that lost money during that time because they will just out of their good heart, okay, show me the alert. They have withdrawn, they debited you, right? Okay, that means that you have paid, carry the market. And trust me, there are sometimes that there was a time my wife actually paid somebody, they debited her, the person out of her church mind say, oh, go. And when she got home, she received the reversal of the payments. It was because of the kind of person she is that made her to go back to the market and tell the woman that, oh, the money was actually what reversed to me, and here is your money, let me make the transfer again. But some people would actually disappear with that. They may not even have time to go back to market to say, let me go and return the money. So it was a large crisis, and that's technological crisis. Okay, so you got just imagine the reputation of of banks as at that time. A lot of banks, that you think you used to think that they were so big and you have rated them so high. People started bringing down their reputation that, so this bank is useless. I just thought that they were actually big. I wouldn't mention them, but even my bank, I used to brag that, oh, my bank is great and everything. Trust me, they messed me up during that time, and I began to think that, oh, these people are even nothing. That this money issue actually had blown their secrets and has shown us that what they are not actually what up to the standard we have been rating them. So what about confrontation? Confrontation also do occur in organization, whether you like it or not. Yes, you may see less of it, maybe by your experience, but I've seen a little of what about staff having to, or a subordinate having to confront, or challenge, the authority higher than him or her. There are some companies that also run, staff welfare committee. We have staff normally have their welfare committee that stand in between the staff and the management. So sometimes we have had histories where the staff, welfare committee will actually, shut down the whole company, and they will say that what they are not working, maybe due to something that they actually what asking of that the company has not actually given them. I still remember an incident in a cement factory. In cement factory, there are some group of people that work in mines. People that work in mines are the one doing blasting of the limestone. Okay, without them, the cement plant cannot actually run because they are the one that has to, face the blasting of all those limestone and ensure that what the raw materials to be used to actually make cement is actually ready. So, and by analysis, these people are actually open to more hazards. So they have some benefit that the company is supposed to pay another. So that time they were owing them. And they shut down operation that they are not going to work. And what are you going to do as a manager? Will you sack everybody and then you start eating up your company? Or even you have the business manager, you do know that you have a huge crisis at hand. I've heard of members of a band before that follow the musician. They even left the country, they travel out, and those one they already had a plan in mind of what they are going to do. So they followed him also, they travel out. As at like 30 minutes to the time that he's going to or come on stage to come and perform, they just told him that they are not going to perform with him. Why? Because you have not paid our benefits. They were actually telling him that what the benefit has not been what paid, and it was a huge challenge for him. Okay, that, oh, if our benefit is not paid, we are not going to perform. So what are you going to do? You that you have rehearsed that as a musician, that when you say this, your backup will say that and everything. Mount the stage on your own and go and do it. Of course, I've heard of a musician like that who had to, they never knew that he had a backup. He had a way that he already set up a backup for himself or anything. Maybe he has known that something like that can happen. But we have seen some also that this kind of thing actually mess up, and it can happen in an organization also. So confrontation, we have people that actually have what evil mind. Their mind is evil to hurt. It might be from staff to staff. It might be people who are not really synchronized with the vision and mission of the company. They are just there to make money, nothing concerning about the reputation of the company. And that's when we are talking about what people that are malevolent in what in nature. So malevolence, organizational misdeeds, embezzlement, stealing, theft, and all that. This can actually run down an organization, and it's a very huge crisis. I've worked in a company before where somebody was caught. I I never could actually imagine it because I was not there, but I was told he was actually stealing. He wanted to escape the company premises with the electrical wire that he has stolen. And because he knew that they will check whatever he has carried, they will check whatever he has carried while escaping, while leaving the premise of the. In fact, the law or the policy in that company back then is that even if you are a top management staff, when you are leaving the company premises, because the CCTV is there, the security may salute you, may respect you as a boss, but you must open your boot. They must check your car when you are leaving. But this man was not even using car. He was just a staff, and he wanted to leave. So he wanted to escape with those wire that he stole. They will actually check whatever you are carrying, either poly bag or anything. So he had to wrap the wire around his body. He twisted the wire around his body, as funny as that may sound, and as desperate as that may sound. He twisted the wire around his body and wore his coverall. He wanted to leave. So he was almost making it out when one of the security now look at him that, this person is not as fat as this now. How come he's looking so big today? That one now say, please come here. And that one attempted to actually hug him to check his body. And lo and behold, it was wire being wound around or twisted around his body. And he was caught. So the company would have just been that, oh, wire is disappearing from the company. We don't have instruments, but we bought some last week. You wouldn't know that such a person is actually was stealing away the company's properties. So workplace violence also. What about workplace violence? If you have not seen staff actually fighting before, fights breaking out among the staff, then you may not know what workplace violence might actually be. Yes, fights do occur in company, and these are also crises that can actually put a halt to the activities of the company, or that can affect that daily target that the organization has actually set. What about rumors? Rumors is one of the hardest crisis to actually control. Yes, because in some cases you don't even know the source of the rumor. Just spreading the news that today is by dates. I think today is 8, right? Today's 8. Today is 7. Okay. So by today's date, today is 7. So just imagine that somebody in the company, spread out the rumor that Guess what? They said that this month they are not going to pay us salary because of so. They said that they are not going to pay us salary. That this month there is no salary. Trust me, it is not month end yet, but many staff will start misbehaving just with the rumor that they are not going to be paid. Okay, so rumor can actually what makes it can make a big deal. It's just like somebody running into a street and say they are coming. Oh, there was this funny skit I saw on internet. The guy will be running and will be shouting, "They are coming! Oh, they are coming! Oh, they are coming!" Imagine in a society where security is not guaranteed. You see people, they never saw what is actually pursuing them. They didn't even see what is coming, and they started running. And many people along the line in that act will get injured, they will get themselves, and it was in the name of prank, even though that's too expensive. So people will start running and everything. So when you look at things like this, it can actually let you, figure out what rumor can actually look like. It can actually raise a level of crisis. I remember in the time of was it Ebola outbreak in Nigeria. People started spreading rumor that, oh, Ebola has broken out in Nigeria. If you want to be free, you have to put salt in water. You must bathe yourself with salt water. Also drink some of the salt water. Eat bitter cola and everything. And I was just at home that very morning. My mom called me. She was panicking. Please, oh, today you must bath with salt water and everything. I was just laughing without even scientific proof. Trust me, a lot of people did it. And I heard that a lot of people's health were damaged and affected in the process of drinking salt water. Some people consume salt water, and they have some level of, health challenges that does not require that. And many people, got themselves, injured, affected wisely in the process. Some people that have not even tasted bitter cola because they believe that was bitter cola that will actually will fight it. They started consuming bitter cola, having issues, people with high blood pressure, still doing that and all sorts. That is rumor. Rumor can actually, that's why I said that it's a very big issue. You wouldn't even know where it's coming from. If people had a rumor now that, oh, tomorrow they are going to sell, you know, they are going to sell an orange 1,000 naira, you won't see orange anywhere again. Why? Because even people that have that orange in stock, they want to actually hold it, they want to keep it so that they can sell it what higher tomorrow. And that is what is happening. It's rumor. A lot of problems in countries are due to rumor. Oh, there will be what? Increase in the price of what? Petroleum. Nobody has confirmed it. Mr. President has not released any speech about it. There's no official information about it. But just hearing that what? Fuel pump price is going to go up. Go to every filling stations, they have shut down. These are crises. And rumor can lead to a huge crisis. Okay? What about terrorist attack, man-made disasters, and all that? There have been issues of oil spillage in some parts of the country. Not only in Nigeria, there has been some great oil spillage even across the world that claim a very great deal life of the marine life and all that. So these are types of crises that may actually what be witnessed even across organizations. So we have to note that there will be a future huge difference between organizations who care so much with applying crisis management strategy and those companies who do not actually care about crisis management. In the nearest future, the difference between organizations is going to actually have a wide gap in the way or in their reactions or the way they actually make use of crisis management in dealing with their organizational problems. That's to tell us how important crisis management is in the company. So let's see how crisis actually manifest in company based on all those 8 types of crisis we have actually what discussed, let us see how it manifests across what organization. So crises do manifest externally. Crisis in organization can be either internally or externally. So let's see how it occurs externally. Okay. Externally, crisis may occur due to global pandemics. And of course, in fact, somebody that is 10-year-old or even 15-year-old can actually what attest to that. Back then in 2020, it was a global problem. Companies were shut down, organizations were shut down. A lot of organizations were not making money. A lot of organizations couldn't even cope with paying their staff. I still remember then that I have somebody at the first, their company was actually managing to pay them full salary. At the time, they told them that, oh, you will just be collecting half salary because you are not coming to work and everything. We just don't want to leave you. At the time, many people even lost their job in the process. There are some companies that shut down and say, okay, look, we'll get back to you when everything is back to normalcy. We'll get back to you. We'll call you back, and they stop paying salary. So this is a global pandemic, okay, in the outbreak of COVID-19 then, and companies that do not have a online presence or that were not prepared to actually make use of the internet in dealing or in actually offering their services or selling their products, they face a great deal of problem during the last global pandemics. I know of people, some schools that actually closed down because the school premises was actually what rented. It was not owned by the school owner. And trust me, rent was actually accumulating. The person that owned the premises saying that nothing concerned him, he has to collect the money. This is you. You were not operating for some number of months, and somebody is there claiming that he wants to collect the money. So many of them could not cope. They have to shut down. There are some people that close their physical office, they close their shops and everything because they couldn't cope with the rent again because of pandemic. So crisis can manifest globally uh, from a global pandemic. It can also manifest due to global or national financial depressions. When you're talking about inflation right now, trust me and sincerely, across many continents and countries now, there is inflation. There is financial depressions everywhere. I know of people who are not even living in Nigeria, but they are still crying foul because of how much they are struggling to actually pay their monthly bills. The only difference may be that some country, they have made the necessary preparation for their citizens to earn that much, okay, so that they can take care of the what inflation. But trust me, in some part of the world, like in Nigeria, where the salary will not be increased, and you have a lot of price of items in the market increasing, geometrically, is a very big problem. So you begin to see this in your staff. The salary you are paying them or they are being paid is not enough for them again. And then you begin to see that it's going to bring a crisis to the company, because whether you like it or not, their mental instability, their financial incompetence to take care of their needs, or insufficiency in their salary will begin to actually show in their commitment to the company. Many of them will be looking up to the company that, okay, increase our salary. But here is the company also trying to struggle because you don't want much increase in the items you are pushing to the market, because if you increase the price of your items so high, it might actually push your customer to testing alternatives, or going to your rival company to say, okay, fine, if we cannot take for instance, if you cannot take picnic again, I think we can take 3 crown. They will just be going for a less costly brand, so to say, that they can actually cope with. Once you increase the price of your product so high due to increase in the cost of production and all that, and your staff also be looking at it, okay, fine, we also need an increment, the salary is not enough and everything. So these are global and national crisis. An organization, whether you like it or not, in some ways or some level out, some stage in your operation, you will definitely face this. So how do you mitigate, or how do you actually what get prepared for this kind of crisis? That's what we are looking at in this course. Implementation of new regulations and laws in the country. uh in Nigeria also lately we faced this when the federal government was actually making, some policies, reviewing policies about taxes, and all that. I think of recent now, many people are also having problem with corporate affairs commission, that CAC, that normally register company. CAC started granting some company and enforcing that what they must actually come and file their annual return. Once your annual return is not being filed, yes, your company's name will display on the CAC platform, but it will definitely be showing red, I think something like that, showing that what you are not updated. It means that yes, you have registered with us, but we are actually suspecting that what this company is not in operation, and that's just the interpretation. If a company is actually in operation and you have not filed your annual return for like 1 2 3 years, so the CAC will actually mark you red, that you are not actually operating. The assumption to them that what you are not existing again. And trust me, this is an impact. I learned of companies during that time, not even late, they are still doing it, they just started not quite long. Companies that wanted to send some of their staff out of the country, and they are using their company's name and all their profile to actually process their visa and everything, and about to leave the country, they have to check and everything, and saw that their company is not updated, and that was why they were actually grounded, that they couldn't even travel out. We have companies that actually leak a lot of secret, that we have companies that is existing over 20 years that has never filed annual return even for once. Okay, so all these regulations, you can imagine, can bring crisis. There was a company then that by the time they calculated the money they would pay to do their updating, because they have not been doing it for years, by the time uh they calculated it, it was running to millions, about 40 or 60 million. So you can imagine your company having to pay that much. Okay, and quite unfortunate, there was a company I learned that they were even filing their annual return, and it happened that they were not documenting what they were doing. And CAC said, oh, up till now, we do not have any online backing of our records. If you have actually filed annual return before and you want to fight it, go and bring your paper evidence that show that yearly you actually file your annual return. And they couldn't find it because of poor documentation. And they had to pay again millions of naira. This can actually bring crisis to a company. So, regulations by government, the laws of the land can actually bring crisis to the company. When the, policy change, that may actually what shake even the right foundation of your organization. What about global or national logistical problems? When you're talking about Nigeria now, I think we are actually facing the heat because of transportation, due to the increase in the pump price of the petroleum. And whether you like it or not, it's affecting even the price of the smallest item in the market. And that is it. Because things have to be moved from one place to another. So you go to market now, things that you were buying 5 naira before, for example, you may actually hear that what it is now 11 naira, 12 naira, and that is a very big crisis, because companies also, they are facing in high jump in the cost of the production. So what would they do? You can imagine some people running on due to instability of power supply, their company runs on a generator and all that, diesel and everything. So do you know how much they have to spend, extra for every liter of petrol that they normally use before? For every liter, now they are spending like 300% increment for every, the every liter, 1 liter of petrol they have to use for production. So you can imagine, if the price of their item is actually 1 naira before, it is expected that, okay, if they want to really do it, that increment on the price also, if it's not running to that 300% based on the massive production they are doing, by calculation, it cannot be less than 100% increment. So you just see that they were selling 1 naira before, and now it's not 2 naira. That is crisis, and everybody will be affected in one way or the other. What about wars? What about terrorism? What about revolutions? What about unstable political systems of the countries? To be sincere with you, people who are into business will never pray for instability in the political systems. It is only a man who thinks that he has less to lose that will be saying, "Oh, nothing concern me and everything." You are just so much, happy and entertained when you see fight between APC and PDP and everything. But people who are running their business and they know that this thing will pose, a level of threat to the existence and the well-being of their business, they will never pray for political, unrest in the country. And because where two elephants actually fight, when these people actually, combat, the grass actually suffer, and the grass are actually what those people who are actually what going to obey the decision being made by these people. So those people will be interested in having the right people in the power. They will be interested in state of rest in the country politically. They will be interested in, the right person actually being there to make the right decisions that will affect the citizens, that will affect the operation or administration of business, well-being of businesses and organization. Okay, because having a wrong person in the position or having a political unrest is actually what like a crisis waiting to happen on every businesses in that particular country. So it's very, very important to note that also. Now let's talk about crisis, how crisis can actually what you know happen internally. When we are talking about internal, you see that everything that we have talked about now, there are things, there are external factors that can contribute to what crisis within the organization. But let's talk about what crisis that can even happen within the organization itself. How crisis can actually, the forms by which crisis can actually manifest within the organization itself internally. So let's talk about that. Unclear vision or bad planning of the top management can actually result to crisis. What do we mean by this? There are so many companies who may still have to actually review their vision. Their vision statement is not actually clear. We don't really know what they are into. We cannot really say this is exactly what they are doing, or this is where they want to be in the next 5 years, or this is what they are trying to address in the business sector. Okay, just like our organization. So what do we care about? We actually care about, trainings, soft skills that can actually what give that 100% efficiency and productivity to people across every profession. So that is actually defined. It means that what you will be having from our company in terms of what training will be such training that can help people to be productive in actually what they do. Either you're affecting managers, either you're affecting projects, personnel, either you're affecting the safety of the company and of organization, whatever, skills, soft skills that can actually promote, productivity within an organization. Then you have it from us. Either helping personal productivity, organizational productivity, or societal productivity. So that is defined. But there are some companies that their vision is not defined. Even the staff actually what are confused about what next they have to do. Today you are producing chin chin, tomorrow is meat pie, next tomorrow is puff puff, and then you close down the business of chin chin again. You say, okay, let's be doing meat pie, let's be doing fish pie and all that. Okay, what are we trying to beat in the market space? Are we trying to be the most affordable company in the production of this? Are we trying to really be the leading company when it comes to this particular area? Are we trying to, reach out to only African continent, or we are reaching out to the whole world? Are we actually limiting ourselves to Lagos, or we are operating in Nigeria and everything. These are things that can actually guide what? Clear vision, okay, of an organization. Bad planning by top management also can also lead to crisis. And in most cases, they blame this on staff. That's when the management themselves do not put what the right planning in place on how things ought to be done. Okay. And in some cases, some management will actually insist that the plan that they have made or they have laid down must be followed, you know, by every members of staff as if it's a soldier receiving order. So whatever you are not required to do, you must not do it. And you see the staff also following this plan, but unfortunately, the plan being presented to them was actually a bad plan, and there will be crisis in the company, whether you like it or not. There was a time I watched a documentary that was trying to, analyze the military operation of a particular country, and they said that in their military operation is that when you are sent on a particular mission, okay, to carry out a particular mission, if the mission fail, rather than for you to actually retreat and come back or anything whatsoever until you receive an overriding order, that's when you must stop. In other words, what they are trying to analyze is that if the mission fail and you see that it will cost you your life, the order of their military is that what you go ahead, and better die in that particular situation than for you to now use your discretion that do we have to retreat and or send for backup or anything. I don't want to mention the country, but I may not be totally accurate. But what am I trying to say in essence is that organization that limit the uh, staff using their initiative to do things in some cases, that limit proactive actions by staff, that limit the level of intelligence of staff, that limit, the application of them using their common sense in carrying out some things when the lay down principle seems like it's not actually working. Any organization like that is an organization that is pregnant with crisis and is about to give birth. Because staff will just, and some staff, they rejoice at that, whether you like it or not. Oh, they are the one that set the plan. Let's follow it. So even if the company will burn down due to your plan, they will follow it. Because in your plan, you have already said that, oh, the using fire extinguisher is not by them. Even when they see the whole section of the company getting burnt like this, and you cannot legally, they will win. Because if they have actually signed that in their agreement that, oh, you should not, don't touch, they don't do this and everything like that, trust me, if they have not done it and something actually happened, they will actually win that particular case. So the vision of the company must be clear, and the planning of by the top management must actually be intact. Even review, from time to time to ensure that they are actually keeping up with the changes that is happening in the society. What about poor management of organization? That can also be what lead to crisis when there is poor management, when the skills, of the managers themselves within the organization is actually poor, is not people oriented. That can actually lead to crisis. Every reoccurrence of human errors can actually lead to crisis also, of a particular staff. This is common in bank. In most cases, you see people going to bank to shout, my money was actually deducted. I learned of a woman who was living abroad, and she was actually making some savings, into her account back here at home. And her plan is that when she eventually retire home, she will use the money she has saved in the account to start something in the country. And it's about, I think, above 60 million or so. By the time she came back, checking her account, she was meeting something like 1,000, I think 14,000 or something like that. What is this? What's the meaning of this? And she had to shout, and is an internet word, came online and spread the news. Come to my aid, come and help me. before the bank now made an official statement that, oh, we are sorry, we are looking into it and everything. That kind of error or that kind of mistake is expensive to be made. That could have claimed somebody's life. If that woman is actually what? Hypertensive, the shock would have, killed her. It would have shaken even the right foundation of her life. Okay? So every reoccurrence of human errors is a big what? Crisis. Today, the client may actually overlook, tomorrow they might overlook, but trust me, when that keep on happening, there will be an outburst. And when it happens, you wouldn't be able to actually curtail it easily. Unethical or dishonest behaviors can also lead to crisis. I learned of a training firm. Okay, so the owner of the training firm, you know, he gave a free hand to the trainers working with his organization, and that was a very big mistake, because I saw it like they were not actually they were not ethical in their nature. And trust me, the unethical nature of their operation actually also, brings about the behavioral dishonesty and all that, even among the staff. So what did he do is that, if you are to be trained and maybe you're having issues paying into the company's account, you would say, okay, you can give it to the trainer. Through the trainer, you can come and pay. That was a very big mistake. So he had to lay off all his trainer at a particular region, because it was covering a very large region. And these trainers were just like a freelancer. No, they were actually working with him, but they were free. Like the agreement of their, salary and everything make them so free in operation. So I learned that many of them would collect money, they will not remit it to the company's account. You will have people chatting up the company saying that I paid for training and everything. By the time those people will actually bring forth their teller that they used to pay, or the paper receipt that the trainer actually signed for them when they made payment, it will actually show that yes, this person actually collected money. But where is the money? He found out that what they were just collecting money with their salary and everything, spending it like that. A lot of things that were actually being brought open, and he was forced to shut down his own operation around that region, that he was not having trainer. He actually removed that region from the region that he was covering. That what is this? So unethical or dishonest behavior can actually bring about crisis. And trust me, what he did might actually be for him that, oh, he was angry with them. But that actually says something about the company. But because this is a company that is training on leadership. So what are you telling us if you are training on leadership and something like this happened within your organization? So for me, I feel that the best thing for that man to have done would have been for him to actually go back to the drawing board and put up his policy right, accept that what he had actually messed up, and ensure that what that thing did not even go out to the general public. Even though he's going to lay off, it will not be after you have put up the policy, maybe one by one is laying off those staff that are not actually what coping. Because trust me, people that are already used to stealing, no matter how they continue with the company, they will still find one way or the other to be stealing. So that can actually be that, okay, yeah, this person is stealing. But it's not about these people are stealing. People, when that news went around, it actually shows that how can you say, okay, fine, be collecting money by hand and be paying into the company? That says something about the standard of the company. What about unresponsive or toxic culture? Toxic culture within the organization, okay, can actually lead to a big crisis. Okay, yeah, crisis can manifest like this: unresponsive or what, toxic culture. It can actually lead to that. Absence of effective leadership in the company. Okay, crisis can also manifest due to what, absence of effective leadership. If the leadership, organizational leadership, is not intact and is not rightly put in place, there will be huge crisis. Judgment in advance without studying the issue well, especially in conflict resolution. When two staff or two departments are having issues, I've worked in a company before where two general manager, okay, that's the GM electrical or GM mechanical, and all that, they were having issues. And these are people that must work together for the good of the company. When they're having issues, trust me, there will be a lot of problem. Sometimes electrical will be looking for the downfall of the mechanical to ensure that, oh, mechanical is the one that make this error. But in company, our interest shouldn't really be that which department actually commit the mistake. Is how we can actually work together to ensure a smooth run of the company. So if there's a conflict like this, trust me, if it is not properly what addressed, that's crisis what waiting that can actually one day even disrupt the operation of the company. So all these may actually lead to what raising many types of what crises within the organization. So what are the nature of this crisis? Let's group them in their nature. Okay. Sudden crisis. Okay, in this case, manager will not even get any warning signals. Okay, and such situation is in most cases beyond anyone's control. So the nature of crisis, as we are looking at it now, might manifest as a sudden crisis. You won't even be able to control it. Like for example, the one that can actually lead to unrest in the community. Unrest in the community might actually be a sudden crisis. I've actually well, may I say I've worked there actually, but I don't want to mention the name of the company. I've worked in a company where the community people, they march straight to the gate of the organization due to the way they were carrying out their business and affecting the lifestyles of the people in the community. They march down, the youth march down, and you that you are even working in that company, if they see the cloth or the polo of the company on you and you are passing in the community, you are in soup. So in most cases like that, people would have carried rumor and say, oh, don't pass here, don't pass there. So you can imagine you working in a company like that. So there are sudden crises that even manager will not even see the signals. It will just happen. Like all these natural disasters we are talking about, it may just happen. Earthquake may just happen. Landslides may just happen. Volcano eruption can just what happen, you know, and that will affect even what the operation level of the company. I've been to a school before where the students were actually shut in. Even it has been closing hour, but they couldn't leave the school premises. What happened? It rained so badly that day, and everywhere was flooded. Even the owner of the school and everybody were shut in. Nobody could go out. Parents could not come in. That's, perhaps they have never even emphasized that what it will rain that bad during that that kind of season. They have been experiencing it, but it's been something they could manage. So then we'll still be able to actually, maybe they have poor drainage around that environment or anything. But this one, it rained cat and dog non-stop that particular day, and everywhere was flooded. That's a very huge one. The form of crisis can also be in form of financial crisis. If there's embezzlement, bankruptcies and all that, okay, companies not being able to pay off their debts, company not being able to pay staff their salary, okay, this can also be a form of what? Crisis within the organization. What about personnel crisis? Okay, you can be experiencing crisis in the organization due to unethical or illegal misconduct of one of your staff. uh well, I will not mention name. There are some people that they have they were actually brand ambassadors for some company, and all of a sudden their nude picture or their nude video actually leak out. Once it leak out like that, you will see organization detaching themselves from such a personnel. They are going to be stopping their brand package with the person and all that. They just want to show the public that, oh, we are not in support of this kind of habits, and we have nothing doing with this particular person. Because without doing that, there will be crisis. People will be like, oh, this is your ambassador, what are you trying to teach? There are people that can switch off. Even if your product is as good as anything, there is currently a lot of things going on in the country about the artist Mohbad death and everything. Everybody that is suspected to actually have a hand in his death, even though perhaps there have not been an official confirmation that, oh, these are the people that actually killed him. But everybody that the internet has carried and show some level of evidence that, oh, these people are actually have a hands in it. Trust me, people are actually dissociating themselves from those people, to the extent that those that are actually musicians among those people, some people have already banned that, okay, we don't want to hear their music. Not that their music may not be interesting, but for the fact that this is actually happening, you see society saying that, oh, we don't want to hear this, we don't want to hear that. That is crisis, a very huge one. And as an organization, if you have anything to do with that kind of person, that people are saying that we don't want to, have anything to do with these people, do you think that if you still attach yourself with that kind of person, your company's reputation will still remain the same? No. So many times, there was a time that a lecturer was actually recorded, having, sexual relation or sexual intercourse with a student. What did the university do? Immediately, even though it has not been, he has not gone through the, disciplinary committee, and they have not really decided his case and all that. The case that he's having is still, maybe, they are still hearing his case and everything. They first gave him suspension, suspended him as the lecturer, in order to actually dissociate themselves from such a person, so that the reputation of their organization or their citadel of learning or the university will not be compromised. It will not be like, oh, see, this is what you are teaching, that's why you are backing up this person. You cannot actually take out this person. So immediately they will first say, if eventually it was not later confirmed that the person is not guilty, they may still welcome you back. But as at that time, every organization will first respond by cutting off their relationship with that person. Organizational crisis also can also be in the form of, some decision being made by management, leading to harmful consequences towards the stakeholder or external world parties. For example, there are some products that even personally that I use, and I just use them not because I have a reason to use them. It's just that perhaps I'm used to those kind of products. I cannot say this is why I'm using it. It's just that I'm used to it. I've been using it over the years, and I just feel reluctant switching to another brand. It does not mean that they are the best. I'm just actually patronizing them. But all of a sudden, you just see those companies will just increase the price of their, that I care less about your product, and now you are now increasing the price. Oh, that's good. This is the right time to move. And you see people moving to another brand. So management could actually make a very poor decision that can lead to something like this. Once your stakeholders are affected or the external parties are affected, you are in soup. Everybody will just move. And trust me, it's very easy to lose a customer, or very, very hard to gain that client back. Once somebody is lost as a client, it is very hard for you to gain him back, because, mind you, the brand that they will go and test aside from your brand might actually prove to be better than your brand. And who will see something better that will still come back to something worse? So a lot of care had to be taken by management. Technology crisis, I've actually explained technology crisis. Natural crisis, I've explained this. Confrontation crisis, I've explained this. Workplace violence, crisis, I've explained this. And that leads us to talking about organizational leadership. So, like I did introduce earlier, that this training is actually to help, organizational leaders or organizational managers to see how they can actually manage, or, crisis occurrence before, during, and after across every organization. So one of the ways of getting it right, of actually mitigating this crisis, is in the area of organizational leadership, and that's what we're about to start, looking at now. So if you have been with me from the beginning of the training, can you please signify in the chat session, okay? Or you can just raise your hand that you have been with me. If you have been with me, just raise your hand or just use the chat to say, I'm with you. Just say something that would let me know that you're with me. Okay, Dorcas, Gabriel, Unique. Okay, thumbs up for me. Thank you, guys. Thank you. So let's talk about organizational leadership. Okay. So what is organizational leadership? So organizational leadership refers to a management approach in which the leaders help set strategic goals for the organization while motivating individuals within the group to successfully carry out assignments in service to those goals. So, in other words, we are looking at, setting strategic goals for the organization. Okay, and these strategic goals must actually be such that will be done in such a way that individuals within the organization will be motivated, okay, to also work in line with those goals. Every organization have a goal that is set that they are working on, and without the cooperation of all the staff, without the cooperation of everyone within the organization, from the highest to the lowest of them, or from to the least of them, without the cooperation of these people, you know that what your goal can never go anywhere. In the organization back then, when I used to work in the manufacturing industry, we used to have daily targets being set for company. We used to even have weekly targets and monthly targets. Anytime we meet up with our daily target, let's say we want to produce 20 units of that item that day, and we're able to produce 20 units, there is this little change, like a monetary, you know, kind of returns that they will give to every staff based on their level, okay, in the company. So they will give us what, some money like that. They call it target money. They usually call it target money. So this is what we are talking about. Now the organization has set a goal. What's the goal? The goal is that what, we want to produce 20 units of this thing. When we meet up with that goal that they have set, that 20 units of this thing is actually going to be what, produced, and we are able to produce it, they now motivate every one of us by making us to actually feel proud, to really know that we all have actually put our effort together to make this happen. In other words, we all take the glory, and we did not just take the glory by mouth alone, we take the glory even by reward, physical reward, that's monetary reward. So tell me, next time when the company set a target and I'm a staff on duty on that particular day, tell me if I'm not going to do everything to ensure that that thing is actually done. Tell me if I'm not going to what, avoid every level of crisis that can pose a threat to achieving the target for that goal that has been set. Tell me if I'm not going to be careful in talking to a client who has come to cause trouble, who has come to actually disrupt our activities. That's what you see that is going on in bank. No matter how much you shout in bank, what they will tell you is that, please bring down your voice. What is the problem? Okay. In fact, I've seen somebody before who was making a great deal of noise in the banking hall, and manager had to come down and say, I'm so sorry, follow me to my office, I will resolve it myself. Because they know that from the way he is shouting, is going to actually what, cause disruption for even other clients that are there to make transaction. People will believe that there is a problem. That person may even be guilty. That client may be the one that is guilty. But trust me, for every other person that is around, as laughter is contagious, smile as it's contagious, likewise, crisis is actually contagious. Before you know it, everybody will begin to panic. If somebody should come out today and just, rake a lot of things against your company on internet, there are some people that they are not there to go and investigate whether what the person is saying is correct or not. They will just believe what the person has said. If somebody come out to say, to label your company scam today, you will automatically lose the interest and trust of some people, because they are not even ready to even make any findings or anything. They will just say, oh, it's true, those people are actually scam, without even having a genuine reason of why you have been actually tagged scam. So that is why company must actually take up their organizational leadership with care, because most of the crises can actually be mitigated and controlled and well managed if you get your organizational leadership correct. So the element of the organizational leadership is that we have a goal, we have a strategic goal, not just a goal. Strategic goals means that not that we have set the goals alone, we have the strategic way we want to approach it to get that goal, to achieve that goal. And while doing that, we must not do it at the detriment of the well-being of our staff. But unfortunately, many companies in Nigeria, that is what is actually happening. You see company using one person, one staff, to do the job of 3 staff. And once the job is done, they will still pay him just his salary. Nothing at all to actually what? Appreciate him for the excessive job he has done. And because of the condition of the country, people like that are just staying on that job because they felt that they had no option. It's not that they were happy. Okay? And in one way or the other, it will be affecting the quality of the business. It will be affecting the reputation of the business, because if somebody that is working in the company is not even speaking good about the company, do you know how many persons that each of the staff in your company are talking to out there? They are working in your company quite all right. They are making money from it, but they are spoiling the brand outside just because they are not being treated fine. They are not being treated well. So this is very important. Achieving the organizational goal must not affect the well-being of the staff. In fact, they have to be motivated to work in achieving such strategic goals that have been set by the organization. So organizational leadership, in a simpler way, we can also refer to it as a form of management that simultaneously address 2 things. What are those 2 things that we must address if we want to actually show that our organizational leadership is intact? First is that we must address what is best for individuals. And 2, the organization must address what is best for a group. Now you see the splitting. What is best for the group actually will show in the kind of goals that we actually set. For example, our company wants to be the best manufacturing company when it comes to garri, okay? The best manufacturing company when it comes to production of garri. That is a goal that you feel is actually best for this group, for this organization, for this company. Now that we are aiming at achieving that, what do we think that is best for our staff? Every staff is the representation of the company out there. They are the representatives. They are the eyes of the company. They are the image of the company. So that is why, as the company is feeling good, likewise, they also may be feeling all right in their welfareism. So when you are able to look at organizational leadership in these 2 components, what is good for individual and what is good for our company. If you are actually undergoing this training as an HR personnel, then this is very important for you to note. If you are attending this training as a project manager or a project personnel, this is very important for you to note. In most cases, what leaders want to do is to, by crook or by nook, achieve whatever the organization has set. Either they are going to use you 24 hours, long-term shift or anything, they do not care. But trust me, in one way or the other, the quality of what we want to achieve will be affected, or by this training, we will be having crises that are waiting for activation, whether you like it or not. The worst thing will be for you to actually mess up with your staff, and they already have it in mind to cause crisis. And what are those crises? If you do not take care of the staff, they will steal. Okay? They will steal to take care of themselves. A senior colleague was actually relating an incident in a company, not with me, but with a group of people, and I was there when he was talking about it. So there was a sachet water company that we can call pure water company. So they were facing the issue of leakages, reports from their clients and all that. People that were actually selling in bulk, making order from them. They were just complaining. Although in their operation, when you check most of those sachet water company, when they give their larger distributor like that, they will give them some little bag, like in case if there are leakages, that's just to meet up. But in this case, it's actually worse than that, to the extent that when never there's no virtually no bag that they were carrying that does not have leakages. So when they complain, these people were complaining and everything, they saw that most of these leakages are not actually are not actually on the line where the nylon was actually sealed. I don't know if you understand what I'm talking about. If you have seen the pure water nylon before, there will be some line that make out where the nylon is actually sealed. So if there's a leakage around that place, we can say, oh, maybe it was the machine is not properly sealing the nylon. But the leakages, most of the leakages were not coming from that place. Okay, most of the leakages were coming freshly from the body of the nylon, like this. And when they inspect, they have people to inspect those places, they look like something intentional, because they had to carry out research about the quality of their nylon. They saw that it was intact and everything, but it shows that, oh, these leakages were actually intentionally done on the nylon. So my colleague, the senior colleague, was among those people that the company actually invited, okay, to just come and unravel what may be happening in the company. So they started their research from observation. Of course, if you crisis, when it comes to risk assessment in company and everything, you start from observation. They observe, they interview the staff and everything, and they found out that the welfareism of the company is actually poor. There is no motivation. Today you will say, oh, we want to produce this so bag. Whether you meet up with the number of those bags you want to produce or not, whether you meet up with the number of those bags that you want to produce or not, nothing is actually coming to the staff as a reward. Nothing will be given to them. You only declare that we want to produce 2,000 bags today. And when that is actually achieved, nothing, even a penny, is not coming to them to appreciate them that, thank you for supporting our goal yesterday for the production of 2,000 bags. These are actually being given to you. You now introduce again, oh, today we want to meet up with 2005. Trust me, the staff will actually do that. But in that company, there was nothing like that. And their payments, due date of salary was actually till 31st, 35th. In their own calendar, they have 35th. When I say 35th, you know what that means? It means that what? Not until the 5th of the following month before they will pay salary to the staff. They never pay before the end of the month, but when the month even end, the staff would be waiting, and it will be on the 5th or on the 6th or on the 7th. The staff cannot even determine when it will come, but it can come on the 5th if they see it within 5th. It's only if they did not see it up to on the 10th that some of them will not see that it's like this one is extraordinary. So they have really messed up the staff welfareism and all that. So when the group of people that came to make investigation saw it, they saw that even these people can be so angry that, because they can be so angry that they are the one even causing the damages. And the way the staff are also working actually shows that they are excessively being stressed. You can imagine somebody standing on the table, because they were bagging the sachet water. Okay, I don't know now, but in those years when it was relating this, they were bagging the pure water, they were bagging it manually. So they had to stand on the table, for like 7 hours at a stretch, bagging, putting the pure water in the nylon, tying it and everything. Another person will be bringing from machine, another person will be loading in the lorry and everything like that. So they recommended to the company that, see, step up the staff welfareism, ensure that you pay their salary or not before 28. Can you be doing that? We can do it, just that we don't want some of them to feel. Why don't you want them to feel? Are they not making the money for the company? Pay them before or not before 28. These are recommendations. For every target that you meet on a daily basis without any damages and everything, tell them once there is no damages, there is no leakage. If you can bag 200 bags without leakages, on every bag that you actually pack without leakages, it is just say maybe 1 naira or anything like that. For every bag, yeah, there will be 1 naira to the team that actually packed that bag without leakages. Trust me, within the next 24 hours after they make those policy and announce it to the staff, there was no more leakages. Everything started going fine, which actually showed that these staffs were intentionally, when they were bagging, they were actually intentionally, puncturing those words, those sachet water, and they will pack it with it like that because they were hungry. They were not being taken care of. And that's the problem of organizational leadership. If it is not what being, handled properly. So let's look at the components of organizational leadership. Organizational leadership, in its sense, we are talking about organizational leadership. You just think that leadership, because leadership is broad. So when we are talking about organizational leadership, we are talking about leadership itself. We are talking about ethics. We are talking about communication. We are talking about what? The strength of the company and the world view. Now, let me take this one by one. Okay. When you're talking about leadership, with respect to organizational leadership, we are talking about, the readiness, the right self-esteem to take up what? Leadership position. In the real sense, what we are saying is that people that will actually be in the position of making decisions for the company, they should be people that actually they are confident in themselves. They are confident in their own direction. And it is not just about being confident alone, it's about their experience. Okay? Are they really capable? Do they really have those qualities of being what? Great leaders? Because great leaders, when they make decisions, there is this instinct that will tell you either you have made the right decision or not. The right decision will be that the decision, you first look at it, is it actually people-oriented? The decision you have made, as a leader, is it actually showing respect to others? Are you actually being fair in those decisions that you have made? Are you actually exhibiting honesty in the decision that you have made? Are you actually keeping your promises even in the decision that you have made? So all these things will actually show us, the features of a quality leadership within the organization. And it will actually help us to know either there are crises that may happen in the organization even without giving us warning. If we make leadership decisions within the organization and they are not actually showing respect to others, whether you like it or not, within this very short time, you begin to see crisis emanating from those decisions that you have made. And that's like what I just used in the illustration. What was the decision of the company? The decision of the company is that what? They will make decision about the target of the sachet water production they want to make on a daily basis. But they were not taking care of those people who are bringing those goals into reality. Of course, the staff were actually complying. Do you want 1,000 bags? We'll make 1,000 bags for you. But with several leakages, that was damaging to the reputation of the company. So leaders, when they make that decision, okay, fine, I want to use these people to make 1,000 units of this thing on this particular day. What will make us to actually show that we are being fair? Being fair will be that if they meet up with that target, yes, they are collecting salary, somebody would say, but trust me, for us to actually achieve that goal, because the company is trying to actually increase the profit by setting that particular target, they also must have a feel of that fulfillment that the company is actually feeling. Okay? Are we actually respecting their persons by the kind of way they carry out their job? Okay? By, when if you look at bank now, the economic hazard in bank, there is now awareness for it. In those days, the early bankers, that's why you see many of them, when they retire with glasses. Because trust me, the system that they were using in operation 24/7, you have somebody that will resume to banking all in the morning till night is on the system like this. And their eyesight were actually being affected. I was so happy when I went to Access Bank, and when you go to some Access Bank, it will be as if they do not have even laptop on their table. But trust me, the laptop has been buried and with a glass interface, such that that glass interface is just like a protector, so that they will not be having direct contact with the screen. That's actually being fair with the staff. Yes, they are to do their job, but are we really keeping them in good comfort while they are doing their job? Do we care about their own future also, that when they retire from our organization, they should not be useless and they should be useful to themselves, to society, and even to their family? That's being fair. That's respect to their persons. Nobody should work in a manufacturing company without we caring about their safety. So that will be a test of good leadership in that organization, and that will help us to also mitigate crisis. Do we give them safety helmets, their safety boots, and the necessary thing for them to use? Do they have the right tools to do the right job, or we just put them on the job to just do the job with whatever they have? They just get the job done. So there must be respect to persons, to staff. You must exhibit honesty. If you promise staff that, look, this is going to be paid, let it be paid. I've worked in an organization before where people will be taking rumors. Why haven't they paid our target? Why haven't we paid our target? If company, your money, you have made your money yesterday by declaring the target. So the staff also, there's nothing, good in you delaying them till the following month before you say you pay them for the target of the interest they have made for the company in the past 30 days. So you keep your promise, okay? And that will actually show that what? Oh, there is what? A good component of organizational leadership in terms of leadership. What about ethics? Okay, when we're talking about ethics, we are referring to the moral principles that govern behavior. Okay, and organizational leaders should actually use this ethics. It's very important that you use it as what? A lens to view what? Problems that may actually what? Occur within the organization. So there should be ethics, and you can actually get these ethics right by you having the right what? Policy for the staff to actually what? Operate what? By. And trust me, the ethics we are also talking about must actually be such that the leaders are also displaying by example. It's not by just saying it. You can't tell the staff under you not to steal when obviously you, as the head of the department, everybody knows that you are stealing. If you are stealing, what you are teaching us is that we should also steal. So you can't actually padlock our mouths, handcuff our hands, while you are using your mouth to swallow all the, money in the department illegally. You are siphoning everything to your pockets, and then you are actually what? On the look of who is stealing in the department. Or come every morning you do briefing, you say, so nobody should be caught stealing. And everybody knows that you are stealing as the head of the department. So that would not happen. It's just like a father who is smoking and you're telling your son or your child not to smoke. Of course, your child will learn better from what you are doing. So when we are talking about ethics, we are talking about moral standard, so that there will not be crisis within the organization. You, as the what? Organizational leader, or the leader or the manager in that particular company, must actually do the same. Like there's a saying that the way you treat your business is the way your staff will treat the business. If you are saying your staff should not come late, if 8 a.m. is your what? Resuming time, don't say that I'm the boss, I'm the owner of the company. Let you yourself come early before that 8. So no staff actually have any right. If you, the owner of the business, is meeting up with the time, he himself will know that he needs to actually sit up to be meeting up. I know of a school, where the owner of the school himself is a big school, but even the owner is working in the school as a teacher. Even the owner of the school makes one lesson notes for himself. So if the owner of the school is doing that, is following the ethics of the work, he's already laying down an example. If we have mouths to actually, to discipline any staff who may be doing otherwise. And that is in the area of what? Ethics, as a very good organizational leadership skills or component that can help us to actually limit crisis within the organization. What about communication, okay, in the company? Now, when I talk about communication, the mindset will be that, there should be exchange of information. Companies should let the staff know what is going on so that, staff can talk to the company can talk to the staff, sending emails, phone calls, in-person meeting, and all that, daily briefing and all that. That communication in the area of crisis management is beyond that. The communication we are talking about is the emphasis of giving listening ears to the staff. Company must actually, the organizational managers or leaders must be such that you are listening to what your staff are actually saying. Okay, you 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 actually bring yourself down to actually, pay attention to understanding the beliefs, the values, the expectations of the people. The people that are working with you, you should be well aware of their traditions. You should be well aware of their beliefs. You should be well aware of their values. Okay? Even in the society where the company is actually located, these are things that actually make the communication to be actually effective. The crisis management in this case will be about they talking to you and you listening to them and putting all those things actually in place. I've been I've worked in a company before, and I felt like, they are stressing me that much, to miss, going to church. I'm somebody that will not actually be happy that there is a service, and I'm not actually asking for much. It's not like I want to be going to church every day. I want to leave the company's work. But this company is just so fond of, they don't care. They don't even give respect to people's belief. Whether you like it or not, you must come to work and everything. So one day, my boss called me. Okay, I was, in fact, I was in church. This was Sunday, a common day that that anybody that is a Christian will actually go to church, even for short hours. It was a very short hour, and I came out of the church and I saw missed call, and I was not even supposed to even be on duty. He was calling me, and I was in church. And I came out after the service. I called him back. Sorry, sir. I was in church. I saw your missed call and everything. The first thing he would say as a boss is, so it's a must that you should go to church, Abi, or people like us that did not go to church, we are going to hell. What is that? That's your own belief. If you know that you don't want to go to church, but this is my own freedom. At my free time, I want to go to church. But he was calling me for a job. He wanted to ask me questions and everything. And this was my own time to actually attend to what I feel is important. Even though you are going to talk to that kind of stuff, there should be a level of, good communication. You listen to, you let him know that you value his belief about going to church. I'm not disturbing you from serving your God. I'm so sorry for disturbing you while you are in church. But I was calling you because of this also unit and everything. You are the only one that can give me information for it. Will you please just let me? So it will be fine. So it's very important that communication within the organization must be effective. And what is the effectiveness in this case? When it comes to crisis management, you should what? Listen to the staff. What about the strengths? Okay. What are we talking about the strengths? The organizational leadership management, okay, is such that work with the strengths of other people while also what? Navigating around the weaknesses. You must know that your staff, individual of your staff, will have area of their strengths and area of their weaknesses, whether you like it or not. As a leader, you must be aware of people that are working with you. You know their strengths, you know their weaknesses. If I'm to actually send somebody to actually do this particular job, I know what that person is capable of. I can say, oh, go and you are the one I want to go and attend to this because I know that blah, 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 blah. And this other person that you think that is weak in that area also have what? An area where he's strong. When we compensate one another like this in a team, this you bringing in your strength to complement my weaknesses, me bringing up my strength to complement your own weaknesses, then we have a functional organization. Okay? But trust me, if you send a staff that is, temperamental, or that have issues with anger management, to go and attend to a staff that is shouting down the hall of the company premises, then you know that what? You are the originator of that crisis. We have seen before where, a staff will get engaged in what? Not just in exchange of words with a client, but to the extent of exchanging what? Great deal of what? Fights with themselves. Because some staff cannot take the language of some angry clients that are not also cultured, that will be saying, are you stupid? Are you stupid? Why will your company do this? It will take A staff who has was strength in the area of anger management to still be saying, we are sorry, ma. Will you please lower your voice? We are sorry, ma. How may I assist you in this area? I'm so sorry. Okay, can I fix this? You know, even while you are saying sorry, there are some clients that will still be saying you must be stupid for saying that. How will you be telling me sorry for this kind of thing? What will you still say? You're still sorry. But there are some staff that once you tell them that what they are stupid, they feel like it's an attack on their person. And that's why you see that bank do not actually put anyhow person to be among their what customer relation service and everything. People that they put there are people who have been overhauled, that look, there will be crazy people that will come to your table to come and make noise because of 1 naira deduction from their account. This is how to handle them, and you must be very careful. I have never seen, I don't know if you have seen, where a customer care personnel also raise voice, his own voice back at an angry client. What they will tell you is that, I'm sorry. Even when they eventually check your account and they see that the idiot that is making us only has 2,000 naira in his account as the account balance, they still dare not shout back at you. They will still keep their account to say, we are sorry, blah, 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 because they have trained them that what every client is important, whether you like it or not. They have trained them that what customers are always right. That's their own instinct. And they will keep it calm. So you must use people in the area of their strengths. If you must actually control crisis within the organization, you must use people in the department that they belong. You must use people in the area of where they actually strong, where they can demonstrate that strength. As a leader, you must know how to actually do this. And you must take note of the weaknesses and strengths of the people working under you. What about the world view? I love this a lot. Organizational leaders must not be narrow-minded. You must be open. I think I've mentioned it while I was talking about, I think, communication. I mentioned it briefly. But leaders, the component of organizational leadership is actually the ability of a leader to actually, have a view of the whole world. When we are saying having a view of the whole world, is that the world views refers to the person's beliefs, attitudes, opinion, and even outside forces that may influence even you as a person. So you must be open to it. Okay, you must know that when you are being angry and you are taking things personal as a leader, you must actually know that, oh, you are taking this actually personal. Okay, you must not take a personal, your personal anger, because of your personal anger, then you want to deal with a particular staff. There will be crisis. There are sometimes that you don't just like the way a particular staff is behaving, but that's just you. You must know that, yes, it's just an opinion. You don't like the way the person is. But if the person is doing his job, you must still relate the same way you're supposed to relate with the person, and let the person have his own due. Yesterday, yes, very timely, I was speaking to someone on phone. He happens to be my uncle, and we're actually sharing some experience about angry boss at work and everything. So something happened to somebody, like a member of the family, and that led to the discussion, and he was actually sharing his own experience. So he worked in the telecommunication industry, and of course, he had an operational vehicle. So there is this Indian man who was unnecessarily just, hating him. The man just hated him just for no reason. So he wanted to service the vehicle of the company, because his company is a vehicle, and the man is actually, overseeing that department that normally service the vehicle. The company is doing everything internally. So he called, and this man was actually, my uncle was overseeing the another state. This other man, let's say, is actually in Lagos. So he called him. I have to service this company's vehicle. Is actually due, and he told him, okay, bring it to Lagos for servicing. So when he got to Lagos, the thing that the Indian man, something that will not take 2 hours to actually service, he told him, bring the key. He collected the key and told him he can go. That when he's done with the servicing, he will call him. And then he left. Something that should not take 2 days. The first day went, he was not called. Second day, third day, then up to a week. And this is his operational vehicle. When we are talking about telecommunication, for people that have worked in the telecommunication industry before, you can relate. You can have your mast being sparsely distributed. You can have like 20 masts under you that you have to attend to. You have seen all these MTN masts. Let's just imagine that you have like 20 MTN masts that you have to attend to. So if this particular mast or this site is down, you have a very short time to move from another site to this site. And that's why they gave him the operational vehicle, so that there will not be any delay. So he was managing, running on his own commercial to attend to site for like 1 week. But there is this particular, site that happens to be a host to many other sites, that if this site will actually go down, the fiber optics that is linked to it will bring down so many sites. So he communicated to the Indian man that, look, you have not given me my operational vehicle, and there is a site that is so critical right now that we need to rescue. I'm going to the site. There are some materials we need to move down to the site. So I will need the vehicle for it. The man said, no problem. I'll get back to you. He called the following day. In fact, luckily for him, he was documenting all these things. As he was calling, he was sending mail. As he was calling, he was sending mail. As he was calling, he was sending mail. In fact, he told him 3 days to the time. He said, okay, this site will be done in 3 days' time, because he was taking the account that the diesel level of the site has gone down. They have to move down to the site. They have to rescue the site, okay, like emergency rescue with the diesel from one site to another site. So then the man said, okay, no problem. 2 days, he said, okay, sir. He mailed him again. In 2 days' time, this site will be done. The man still said, no problem. One day, in the morning of the day that he knew that the site will be done, he called and mailed him again that, sir, in the next few hours, this big site will be done. He said, the man said, no problem. No problem? He said, yes. Bum, 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 bum. And the site went down. Everywhere. Even the top management that had not called before, they started calling. So immediately he called the Indian man that the site I told you will be done is already down, sir. What the man would say was that, okay, go and rescue the site. He said, with what, sir? With whatever you can get, just go and rescue the site. Sir, I don't have anything to go and rescue the site without my vehicle. And if you know that you are not giving my vehicle, then you should send money for logistics for me to actually go and bring up the site. He said, well, the next thing the man said was that, I will deal with you. If you like, go and rescue the site or not. Pim! He said he told him, okay, sir. Immediately he dropped the call. He compiled all the emails he has been sending to him over time, warning him about the site and everything that happened, narrated everything, send it to the top management, copy here, copy there, copy there. And they started calling the Indian man. What happened? They called him. Do you mean it? He has seized your vehicle for 2 weeks? He said, yes, sir. I didn't have my operational vehicle for 2 weeks. 2 good weeks. What have you been doing? Sir, I've been suffering, sir. I've been using my own money to move from one side to another. And that was it for that Indian man. That was the end of his job. In fact, they first demoted him, and in the long run, he was even out of the job. That's because he used his own person as a leader. He was even above this, my uncle. Okay? They made my uncle not to be reporting to him again. They ranked the man and all that, returned his vehicle, and the blame was not his, because he used his own personal opinion. Okay? To actually, so a leader must have, an organization leader must have a world view. You must be able to settle a personal interest, separate personal interest from organizational interest. That you do not like the way somebody look and is working in the company does not mean that you will jeopardize the interest of the company. Okay, so you must respect people's beliefs, respect attitudes, in as much as not affecting the organizational practice, the opinions, and even some external influence. External influence might be the family issues and everything that may affect you as a leader. You must not take out aggression even on your staff. If not, there will be crisis. And you must train the staff. When you see a staff that is actually reacting, and you know that this person must have had a problem coming from his family or anything whatsoever, you should learn how to call that person and say, oh, look, You don't normally talk like this. What's the problem? Maybe the member of staff will be able to relate to you, because trust me, it can lead to crisis. We have had staff who are depressed due to family problem, and they came to work and got injured and had what on job what accident. What would they still say out there? They will say that what the person was injured while on the job. So you must take care of the person, even though the person was absent-minded due to the what family issue. That's why the leaders must actually open his eyes when your staff is misbehaving, because you see that misbehavior can lead to crisis. I've heard of a very terrible accident that happened in a company before, where the man is a machine operator. So anytime they come to work, they normally warm up their machine. The machine you will use, you start warming it up before you load it, before you start working. And before he got to the hall, the cleaner was already there cleaning everything. So it's just like you have a hall where you have the various machines. So he couldn't have the sight whether somebody was there cleaning his machine. He couldn't take the sight of his machine. So he just went straight to the controller of his machine, the remote control of his machine, and on the machine. And there was a blade. That was the time the cleaner was cleaning the blade part, and the blade actually came down and beheaded the cleaner. And it was a live story. It was not even a cooked up one, because it was narrated by a senior colleague, and that caused the life of the cleaner. Meanwhile, perhaps in their normal culture might be that first do the physical inspection of your machine, go there, check your machine. Did you leave something yesterday when you close on the machine, before you go and on it and put oil where you're supposed to put oil, being ready for the day's operation? But he didn't do that. What could have caused that absent-mindedness? Perhaps it might be that the kind of mind he was carrying and coming to work with from home. Okay? And these are the things to actually watch out for, because the well-being of your staff, the well-being of every individual working in an organization is paramount to mitigating crisis in that particular company. So by the special grace of God, we will stop here and continue tomorrow. Let me first mention that tomorrow our class will be by 5 p.m. Our class will be by 5 p.m. tomorrow. We are going to start by 5 p.m. And this class is actually recorded. So you will have access to the material. You will have access to the video, and our time that we are giving for the certification response from you is actually 7 days. Our certification is a token of 5,000 naira, will be sent to you via your email. So do you have any question for me? If you have any question, kindly put your question forth now. If you have any question, please.